Welcome back to the database for Blue Planet Complete for Freespace 2 here on Paladin Gaming. We have a new pilot log from the beginning of the 4th mission, Kin, and we need to finish reading the intelligence. Personal inquiry regarding health of unit member. FleetNet document service, user Laporte Noemi, 0-1-170 Navajas, DDO1 Solaris. Your document request filed 3 days ago. Distribution U in foreign. Stated reason personal inquiry regarding health of unit member has been granted. Document follows. Fleet Medical Advisories, MD 0549, Psychosocial Issues. 2-3, Types of Stress in Combat. A. Physical psychological strain. B. Fear, anxiety of pain, mutilation, death. C. Fear of failure, disgrace. D. Grief, rage, loss of friends, hatred of enemy, incompetent leadership, and so forth. E. Ethical limits. Killing, firing at non-combatants, leaving patients to die, and so forth. The soldier may feel guilty of his own rage or acts. Internal conflicts. F. Internal conflicts. Survival versus mission, loyalty, and ideals, leaving wounded friend behind, short timer, and so forth. User command. Move to section 2.4C. Symptoms of battle fatigue. 1. 1,000-yard stare. Normal and common after heavy combat. Improves with 1 to 2 days rest. 2. Hyper-alertness. 3. Tension, startle response, spine tremors. Becomes selective in veterans, but increases again with sleep loss and cumulative combat. 4. Psychological symptoms. Normal and very common. Headaches, back pain, nausea, vomiting, bowel and urinary symptoms. 5. Irritability, warning signs. Silent, withdrawn, or vicious in own group. 6. Inability to concentrate. 7. Insomnia, terror dreams. Afraid to sleep, therefore symptoms worsen. 8. Inertia, indecision, fatigue. Can lead to mistakes and increased stress. 9. Depression, motor retardation, crying, survivor guilt. 10. Anxiety reactions, gross tremors, extreme startle. 11. Memory loss, amnesia, complete or partial, fugue flight. Note, fugue flight individuals perform acts of which they appear to be conscious, but upon recovery, have no recollection of the acts. Okay. No new dossiers, so we have 4, I believe, intelligence issues remaining. Yep. So, let's learn about the United Earth Federation. The United Earth Federation is the ruling power in post-isolation Sol. The destruction of the Delta Serpentis jump node led to the collapse of the military-industrial complex in Sol, the catastrophic failure of the system's economy, and the eventual dissolution of GTA authority. The 3 major population centers in Sol, Jupiter, Earth, and Mars, all withdrew from the Titan Accords as the systematic failure of Sol's political, military, and economic institutions progressed. During the deepest years of the Depression, groups of philosophers, scholars, and scientists, mostly graduates of GTI's Human Future Project, began collaborating to restore order in the most troubled areas of Earth. Their program used sophisticated social modeling combined with neo-capitalist free market principles. Additionally, it was influenced by a philosophical school called Ubuntu, concerned with the understanding of human relationships. Ultimately, this movement became known as the Ubuntu Party. Its widespread success on Earth carried it to global political prominence. Ultimately, its influence spread to Mars and Jupiter as well. In spite of numerous setbacks, Ubuntu's program of education, scientific exploration, and industrial growth, powered by ever more refined simulations, restored prosperity to Sol and ushered in an age of peace, prosperity, and philosophical development. The Federation is a loose coalition of 3 states, each one ruled by the Ubuntu Party: Earth, the Martian Concordia, and the Jovian Systems Republic. Each state maintains a fleet. Earth's first fleet is led by Admiral Byrne and serves primarily as a strategic deterrent and peacekeeping force. Mars' second fleet, under Admiral Cal Netreba, guards the critical infrastructure of Martian space and is known for its fierce, undisciplined pilot corps. The Jovian Rim Fleet, or Third Fleet, under Admiral H.M. Calder, is the most powerful, disciplined, and formidable fighting force in Sol. It frequently clashes with Kuiper Belt irregulars, particularly those of the terrorist Gaian Effort. GTVA psychohistorians and analysts consider the pacifist Ubuntu Party to be a peculiarity, a form of government possible only in the safe pocket of post-isolation Sol. Now that Sol is once more open to star travel, the GTVA's analysts have predicted the virulent spread of the Federation's pacifist/spiritualist Ubuntu ideology, critically compromising mankind's ability to defend itself. As a result, the GTVA elected to declare war on the Federation and move to isolate and reduce the influence of its Ubuntu leaders, with the ultimate goal of guaranteeing mankind's ability to meet future Shivan threats. The Council of Elders. The Council of Elders is the non-elected executive body of the United Earth Federation. It does not interfere with the daily or even yearly business of government, nor with the workings of the judiciary. Instead, the Council sets long-term directives for the Federation, serving as a strategic steering committee on the scale of decades or even centuries. The separation hasn't lasted for centuries. The members of the Council are philosophers, artists, scholars, scientists, politicians, spies, businessmen, and more. Sophisticated treatments have kept many of these individuals alive well beyond the average Terran lifespan, originally leading to the nickname Elder. The Elders are responsible for the original formation of the Ubuntu Party, as well as the genesis of its advanced simulation programs, used to forecast the outcomes of economic, political, and cultural decisions. Access to these programs has guaranteed Ubuntu Party success for the past several decades. Privately, many of the Elders endorse a form of philosophical near-mysticism not dissimilar to some Vasudan beliefs. Some claim to be in contact with advanced alien beings by means of an unknown method of communication. Oh boy. The Fedayeen. That's something we haven't heard of yet. The Fedayeen are a secretive order of paramilitary operatives that may have been formed at some point during the isolation. Alternatively, they may have emerged from a longer period of quiescence. Vasudan survivors of the Lucifer attack force are rumored to have vanished into their ranks shortly after the Ubuntu Party rose to power. The Fedayeen may have been implicated in a number of violent direct actions during the Federation's reign in Sol, ranging from kidnappings to assassinations to actual spaceborne engagement with Kuiper Belt fringe elements. It is unclear whether the Council of Elders ordered these actions or whether the Fedayeen operate on their own discretion without outside supervision. That's ominous. Either way, it's ominous. It is noteworthy that no hard evidence exists to directly connect the Fedayeen in any of these incidents, or even to substantiate their existence. Whatever the case, the Fedayeen appear to be talented, disciplined, and extremely loyal, with access to significant resources and a vast intelligence network. We begin to see the dark side of the United Earth Federation. Finally, the Gaian Effort. The Gaian Effort is a radical eco-terrorist faction that has emerged from the distant and lawless societies of Sol's cometary halo. The collapse of GTA authority in Sol during the early decades of the isolation left the system in a state of disorder. While the three major states retained power within their own local space, numerous fringe habitats scattered across the system were left unsupplied and isolated. These included gas mining platforms, terraforming infrastructure deep in the Kuiper Belt and Oort Cloud, and the fringe colonies of political radicals. Why would there be terraforming infrastructure that far out? Tens of thousands of souls lived in the fringes of the system, drawn by the cometary industry that was in turn fed by terraforming projects on Mars. The need for supplies, maintenance, and protection became critical. Into this gap stepped the militaristic followers of the Reverend Ian McDuff, the Gaian Effort. After the collapse of the Socialist Party for a Green Mars following the disastrous elections and riots of 2259, many members of the movement had followed the Reverend into self-imposed exile. In the subsequent years, the Gaian Effort had constructed habitats deep in the Kuiper Belt, using both conventional platform designs and cometary hollows. Although it had gradually fragmented into numerous tribal factions, each one confined to a single habitat, the Effort maintained a militia and a sizable deep space industry. This industry now allowed the Effort to protect and nurture the fractured Kuiper Belt and Oort Cloud inhabitants. The Gaian Effort shepherded the fringe colonies through the isolation, gaining the loyalty of many. Once the Ubuntu Party's rise to power ended the system-wide state of emergency, the Fringe Alliance disintegrated, but many of its constituents chose to remain with the Gaian Effort. The Gaian Effort, or GEFs, retained significant manufacturing ability, and to this day they continue to pursue a program of decentralized warfare and terrorism against the Federation. The failure of a desalinization plant on Europa and the subsequent partial die-off of the Moon's native species— the Moon had native species? Galvanized support for the Gaian Effort's radical eco-terrorist agenda. GEF ideology is a convergence of hardline environmentalism and transhumanist thought. GEF doctrine maintains that, because the amino acids that trigger the evolution of life on Earth probably originated in comets, the ultimate destiny of mankind is to abandon the parasitic colonization of worlds and return to cometary homes. That makes no sense at all. The Geth seek to become a liberated cometary man, nomadic and free to wander between the stars and habitats carved from the rich ice of Kuiper Belt bodies. The Geths condemn all human habitation of planets as an unnecessary and destructive crime, and they have backed this rhetoric with violent action. Intelligence believes that the virulent militaristic form of this ideology is not universally present in all Gaian Effort habitats, but that the socio-economic disparity between the Effort and the Federation fuels continued hostilities. The number of Geth habitats, including total population and military ability, is unknown. Geth society is highly fractured, and individual cells or tribes do not always cooperate. The past 6 months have seen a sharp rise in Gaian Effort actions against the already embattled Federation. Intelligence is investigating. Alrighty, and that brings us to the end of the intelligence section. So from now on, database entries are probably just going to be the frontispieces for the missions, unless things get added later on. Which they may well. If so, we will read them out here on Paladin Gaming. This has been the database of Blue Planet War in Heaven for Freespace 2 here on Paladin Gaming. This is Paladin Gaming signing off.